Horror games need to stop hiring nuns and priests. I'm serious, if I see one more game where a guy in a collar is investigating a haunted building with a flashlight, I am going to lose my mind. The best horror games make you uncomfortable in ways you can't fully explain, confused in ways that stick with you. The games on this list do that. They're weird, some of them deeply weird, and none of them are what you expect. I'm your host, Stormy. Welcome to The Night Show. Here are 10 upcoming horror games that actually took a swing at something different. Let's just jump right in. At number 1, we have CORDURA by Garage 51. CORDURA is a co-op psychological horror game where you and up to 3 other people venture into procedurally generated labyrinths to collect items called the Roses of the Night. Then you try to get out. The gimmick is the proximity voice chat. You have to actually talk to your team to coordinate. The problem, well, the darkness is listening, and it will mimic your teammates' voices to lure you into the abyss. So when your friend calls out your name in the dark, that could be your friend, or it could be the void wearing your friend's face. Fun for everyone. There's permadeath, there's sanity decay, and when someone dies, their body stays in the labyrinth. You can go back for it. Whether you do or you don't is between you and your sense of loyalty. Using voice chat as a horror mechanic is genuinely clever. It takes something every co-op game has and turns it into a threat. That's the kind of design thinking horror needs more of. The next one is less about who you trust and more about whether the place you're standing in is even real. At number 2, we have Lucid Falls by Eldamar Studio. Lucid Falls is a solo horror game where you're trapped inside a lucid dream and must survive by manipulating gravity, space, and time. You know, normal dream stuff. There are grotesque creatures, reality-bending puzzles, and cinematic visuals that look genuinely stunning. The pitch is that it slowly reveals a dark truth underneath of it all. The environment looks suffocating in the best possible way. What I like about this one is that the nightmare isn't a metaphor for something or a cheap twist waiting to happen. The nightmare is the place. You're in it. That's the game. Sometimes committing fully to a weird premise is all you need to do. And if surreal nightmare logic isn't your thing, the next one is more grounded. Though grounded in this case means a forbidden village, a missing person, and a descent into psychological collapse, relatively grounded. At number 3, we have Agni, Village of Calamity by Separuh Interactive. Agni, Village of Calamity comes out of Indonesia and it shows in the best possible way. You play as Agni, an investigator from a police unit who disobeys direct orders to go search for her missing partner in a forbidden village. Because sometimes the mission finds you. What starts as an unauthorized investigation collapses into violence, obsession, and psychological breakdown. Resources are limited. Every bullet counts. And the game is explicitly inspired by Indonesian horror cinema, which is a subgenre that does not mess around. I think horror is so much more interesting when it comes from somewhere specific. A culture, a place, a set of stories that aren't the same ones we've heard 100 times over. This feels like that, a game with something real underneath it. Keep an eye on it. That one's a solo experience. This next one, you're gonna wanna bring people you're okay with losing. At number 4, we have Hands Over by ArtDock. Hands Over is a 5-player co-op horror game structured around minigames from our childhood. Warped, sinister versions of things that used to be harmless. Between rounds, players use influence cards to protect themselves, sabotage others, and just generally make each other's lives worse. Failure is a physical and visible. A bad move can cost you a hand. One by one, players are eliminated. Last one standing wins, and gets to genuinely feel bad about it. Taking something innocent and making it quietly wrong is one of horror's oldest tricks. Hands Over knows that, leans into it, and builds an entire multiplayer structure around it. It's weird, it's mean, and it's built for the kind of moment you want to clip and send to someone. If betraying your friends isn't your thing, the next game is more personal. Just you, a camera, and a house full of reasons that your family is dead. At number 5, we have Echograph by Pappy's Pipe Dream. Echograph follows Layla, the sole survivor of a night that killed her entire family. She returns to her decaying family manor, as one does, to find out what really happened and why she's still alive. It's isometric survival horror with a camera mechanic for fighting ghosts. You photograph them, which is either a great idea or the most polite way to handle hostile spirits I have ever seen. I have not decided. Resources are limited, every encounter matters, and the whole thing is seeped in generational guilt and grief. The retro pixel art looks great, and using a camera as a weapon is such a simple subversion. You're not fighting, you're documenting. There's something almost sad about it. This one's quiet and creepy and earns both of those things. Echograph is about confronting the past. The next one on this list is about confronting yourself, specifically the 4 versions of yourself that are currently fighting for control over your body. At number 6, we have UnMe. UnMe is a narrative adventure game where you guide a girl who contains 4 separate human souls through a mysterious labyrinth. Each soul has its own desires, its own traumas, and at any point, any of them might seize control over her body without your permission. Your job is to talk to them, help them work through their individual traumas, and ultimately decide which soul stays and which one gets erased. That's the whole game. Those are the stakes. It's horror about identity, about what it means to be one person when multiple competing versions of yourself are fighting for control. That's not a premise you see often. It's uncomfortable in a very specific, very human way, which is exactly what this genre should be doing more of. From the inside of someone's mind to the middle of nowhere, the next one starts peaceful, but it does not stay that way. At number 7, we have one of my favorites on this list, Out Fishing by Mūn Mūn Games. Out Fishing is a first-person horror fishing game. You fish, you sell what you catch, you upgrade your gear, you build up your lakeside camp, and slowly, very slowly, you realize something is wrong. It's clearly a spiritual kin to Dredge in my opinion, but first person and set in a haunted forest. The loop pulls you outward, deeper into the wilderness, closer to the truth of a disappearance near the lake. But you have to make it back before dark, because at night, you are not alone by the water. This game has comparisons out there to Alan Wake and Silent Hill. That's a confident set of references, but the screenshots and the videos that we have so far do back it up. Using something as mundane as fishing to slowly strip away your sense of safety is exactly the kind of sideways horror thinking that makes indie games worth paying attention to. Out Fishing currently has a demo on Steam if you're interested. That one will get you with the quiet. This next one will get you with the walls of an apartment slowly closing in. At number 8, we have BrokenLore Don't Lie by Serafini Productions. BrokenLore Don't Lie is a psychological horror spin-off of Don't Watch, following a woman named Junko who is trying to maintain long-distance relationships with 2 men she met at a rehabilitation center, while also managing medication that is actively unraveling her grip on reality. You explore her apartment, hide from hallucinations, and make small choices that slowly alter her mental state. The whole thing is built around paranoia, delusion, and the way lies compound until reality stops being reliable. There's no haunted house here, no monster with a name. The horror is entirely internal. It's a person falling apart in an apartment, and you're watching it happen from inside her head. That's a harder thing to pull off than a jump scare, and a lot more unsettling when it works. From one woman's unraveling to something a little older and a lot stranger, this next one is rooted in folklore, and folklore, it turns out, does not care if you believe in it. At number 9, we have Kumarn the Wandering Spirit by WereBuff Studio. Kumarn the Wandering Spirit is a Thai horror adventure about a childlike spirit once worshipped at a village shrine who has been torn from his home and must journey through haunted temples, cursed villages, and forsaken graveyards to find somewhere to belong. He travels with a loyal zebra companion. I'm not going to explain that, it's just the game. He has a zebra. Mechanically, it's stealth and environmental puzzles. but the spirits here are drawn from Thai folklore in a way that feels specific and considered. They're not generic horror monsters, they have stories, they have reasons. When horror is rooted in real cultural tradition, it hits differently, like I said earlier. This one's atmospheric, genuinely distinct, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. And for the last one, I saved the one that made me the most irrationally excited, and you'll see why. At number 10, we have Tenebris Somnia by New Blood Interactive. Finally, I get to talk about this game. Tenebris Somnia, published by New Blood Interactive, which, if you know the name, you already trust the name, is a 2D retro survival horror game in the vein of Silent Hill and Resident Evil. You have puzzles, creatures, 8 and 16-bit aesthetics, classic stuff on the surface. But the secrets of the game live in the cinematics. At key story moments, it cuts to fully live action sequences, a completely different point of view, real actors, real sets, practical effects, shot by an award-winning film crew in Argentina. The whole game is built around one question: what if they aren't just nightmares? That's the kind of swing I will show up for every single time. Mixed media games get me irrationally excited. I don't know what it is. Something about the collision of formats just does something to my brain. Games that refuse to pick a lane are burnt into my memory in a way that nothing else is. That's a developer saying we could have played it safe, but we're choosing not to. If this game pulls this off, and early footage suggests that it's going to, it deserves every bit of attention it gets. And there you have it, that's the list. 10 games, all of them doing something that is just a little bit different. Someone looked at horror and decided, no, not like that, let's do it like this. And that matters, the genre needs it. It's easy to make another haunted house with a flashlight and a lore document. It's a lot harder to make a game about a spirit with a zebra, or a fishing trip that slowly steals your sanity, or a girl with 4 souls who only one gets to stay in. The weird stuff is worth covering. The weird stuff is worth playing. If any of these landed for you, drop it in the comments. And if you want to keep finding games that are survival, horror, or just a little bit wrong in ways that are hard to explain, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That's what we do here. Thank you all for the endless support, and I will see you on the next night show. Bye!